So I'm getting my daily grooming, and I'm also working on Freyja's leg. Also, if you don't understand the grooming thing, it's something about Medicare and whatnot. But yeah. So I'm watching a live stream, Minister Medicare like normal, and I'm working on Freyja's leg again. The reason why I didn't post any videos until now recently is because I was out of jumbo popsicle sticks. I needed more hot glue sticks, and I needed a few more pieces of wooden dowel so I can actually have the legs properly supported. And I finally got them all, and now I'm starting the build process again. So as you can tell, it's a lot more has gone into this one than the last leg, because basically it's bent, and it goes straight up like this. So this whole piece here has got to be really enforced properly so it can actually properly withstand all the weight and whatnot. And as you can tell, if I actually continue to build, what will happen is that this whole piece here will actually interfere with the paper and whatnot. So I'm going to have to cut it down again, probably somewhere like here or so, and then reattach another piece of then reattach some more wooden dowel to get it to be properly set up. So yeah, I'm gonna be taking at least an hour or so on just this little area right here to get all this all properly set up. Alright, so now the fun part, making sure I have this stick in properly and make sure that the connections right here for this part are nice and robust enough to where they can support the actual weight of the Freyja and whatnot. I have a general idea of how I'm probably going to do this. I'll probably just end up having to rest the end of this onto that little stick right there at the very bottom, the one to the very far end, basically like so, or something. I don't know. I'm trying to figure everything out. I'm probably going to do, well, no, I really can't do that. I gotta make sure this thing's fully straight up. So I'm going to figure something out, so I'm just going to end the video here and come back when I actually get this whole thing figured out. Alright, so I have it more or less figured out. Basically a bunch of hot glue, bunch of wooden reinforcements. Now the stick itself is still the wrong way, but in the end I'll just end up probably cutting it like again, probably like right here, and then readjusting it again. This is one of the things that sucks about building a leg section that's bent like this, is actually making sure the wooden dowel I'm using is properly placed, so I don't have to do any more cutting, because every time I cut these wooden dowels and re-put them together like this, it's basically a weak point, and I try to reduce the amount of places where this thing can have a structural failure. But unfortunately, with the way this leg is bent, getting the poles here to sit properly is a lot more difficult than I thought it would be. So I'm just going to finish off this leg, finish everything else up, and then come back. Alright, and as you can tell, I got a little bit of the upper portion of her leg put together. And if I actually bend over, not bend over, but flip it over, you can actually see that if I continue, the wooden dowel itself will actually interfere with the paper again. So I'm most likely going to cut it about here or so to give me enough room to play with, and then I'm going to cut another piece of wooden dowel because this one's going to be too short, and then I'm just going to use that and hopefully properly get everything set up. For the most part, when it comes to these builds, most of my time is just sitting here waiting for the hot glue for these wooden pieces here to dry. So I end up just loading up a game like this right here and just run around for a while killing stuff, and then coming back to this thing when the hot glue dries. So yay for emulators. Alright, finally got this leg put together. The pole itself isn't exactly straight, but I can easily fix that down the road if I need to. 9 hours to get from here, well, yeah, I was like right about here or so, to this. 9 hours. And most of it was just me waiting for the hot glue to dry. That's mostly why this thing took so incredibly long. Well, that and the fact that I had to do multiple cuts on the wooden dowel here to get it to fit properly. If I didn't have to do all the cutting, this thing probably could have been done in about maybe 6 hours. But what you gonna do? But overall, the thing is finally freaking complete. Also, Ralph, you're incredibly late. Alright, this is going to be the last part of this particular video. So I'm in the process of getting everything set up for the other portion, for the other part of her leg. Or basically, whatever you call these parts. Basically the rest of this area right here. But I need to have some more formers placed in here to help to help keep this whole section nice and robust as I build it. So I'm going to send the guy a message, see if he can get the formers properly put in there for me, and then I'll be able to finish this thing off. So most likely tomorrow or the next day, whenever I'm recording this whenever I actually upload this video, is when I'll be able to get back onto the build the rest of the legs and whatever. Good grief, can't speak. But at the very least, once I get done with the legs, the rest of Freyja should come along. Should come along relatively fast. Basically, the one part that takes the longest out of all these builds is usually the legs, because like I keep saying in videos past, that the legs have to hold up the whole superstructure. So I have to make sure these legs are strong enough and properly built to where they can actually properly handle the weight. Min-Mei herself is quite heavy for just being made out of paper. But I know for a fact that Freyja here is going to be really heavy in comparison to Min-Mei. Even though she's probably going to be like 5-10 pounds. You gotta remember, that's 5 to 10 pounds that paper legs have to hold up. So there's a lot of engineering that has to go into when it comes to building these legs. Especially considering the legs are bent like this. So I have to make sure this leg in particular is nice and sturdy, so it doesn't collapse. Which is why I asked for the formers in the first place. So, yeah. Also on that video about me posting about the internet today, do not expect any other videos like that from on this channel. I just want to post it there because it's my biggest one and probably get the biggest notice. But yeah, I'm gonna go back to building this.